Hello everyone, and welcome back to Conspiracies. Today we're going to be talking about a topic a little closer to the channel's namesake that actually has conspiracies surrounding it. We're going to be talking about Bohemian Grove. I'm going to go through the history of the Grove, and then we'll kind of finish it off with some conspiracies and why they exist. So, sit back, relax, if you can, while talking about Bohemian Grove, and let's get into it. Bohemian Grove is a 2,700-acre grove that's owned by the gentlemen's club, the Bohemian Club. Founded in 1878, they host an event each year lasting about 2 weeks with some of the most prominent men in the world. The club does not allow women to join and is made up of famous artists, musicians, business leaders, government officials, former US presidents, senior media executives, and people of power all over the world. After a member has been a member for 40 years, they earn the Old Guard status, giving them reserved seating at the Grove's daily talks. The club motto is "Weaving spiders come not here," which implies that outside business deals and networking are to be left outside the Groves. However, many important political and business deals are developed at the Grove. The Grove is where a Manhattan Project planning meeting took place in September of 1942. The Manhattan Project is the project that led to the creation of the atomic bomb in North America. At the meeting was Robert Oppenheimer, the presidents of Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, various military officials, along with representatives from oil and electric companies. I'm going to go through the whole history of the Grove first, like I said, but I will say, if they first held talks about the creation of the atomic bomb here, what else do they talk about here? Henry Edwards, a founding member of the Bohemian Club, said that he was moving to New York City in 1878. About 100 members of the club gathered in the Redwoods near Samuel P. Taylor State Park in California for a send-off party. This party was held again the next year without Edwards, because he lived in New York, and became a yearly retreat at Bohemian Grove. Members then started purchasing the surrounding land around the area where the party was held, eventually growing the Grove to 160 acres of redwood tree land. The Bohemian Club is a private club, and only active members and their guests may visit the Grove. Guests have been known to include politicians and notable figures from other countries. The official main activity of the Grove is varied entertainment, where members gather around a main stage and smaller side stages for shows. Sleeping camps are scattered throughout the Grove, with about 118 currently. These camps are where high-level business and political contacts are formed. The recreational areas of the Grove are as follows. The Grove Stage, which is a 2,000-seat amphitheater used primarily for plays. The Field Circle, which is a bowl-shaped amphitheater used mostly for musicals and comedies. The Campfire Circle is just a small circle for more intimate performances. The Museum Stage is used mostly for lectures. The Dining Circle, probably guess it's the dining area, seats about 1,500 people. The clubhouse, its common uses for the clubhouse are smoking, drinking, dining, entertainment, etc. And it's also where the first Manhattan Project meeting was held. So all of those just kind of seem like normal club stuff, normal entertainment stuff, but this next one is the last one, and it's also where things get weird. The Owl Shrine and Lake. Hidden away in the interior of the Grove, this artificial lake is used for the Cremation of Care. The Cremation of Care is said to be a performative banishing of worldly cares for the club members. The ceremony involves a small boat with an effigy. Dark hooded figures receive the effigy from the driver of the boat, which is then placed on an altar. Then they light it on fire. The ceremony takes place in front of the owl statue, which is 20 feet tall, hollow, and made of concrete. The statue is covered in moss and is supposed to simulate a natural rock formation. However, it holds electrical and audio equipment within it. During the ceremony, a recording is used that is supposed to be the voice of the owl. Alex Jones actually got a pretty big boost in viewership in the year 2000 when he and Mike Hansen infiltrated Bohemian Grove and filmed the Cremation of Care with a hidden camera. This video can still be found on YouTube today, however, it is partially edited. There's also a YouTube context box in the video that I found, link in the description, with the explaining the Bohemian Club as if this somehow makes this whole ceremony less weird. The Grove is protected by a highly trained security team year-round. They employ ex-military personnel to secure the area, utilizing high-end security equipment such as thermal and night vision cameras, motion detectors, and vibration-sensing alarm systems. Sounds like they're ghost hunting. The level of security is heightened during the time that members are on site. During these times, they also have the local sheriff's office, the California Highway Patrol, and the United States Secret Service to help secure the area and roads. Despite the security, there have been multiple successful break-ins. In 1980, Rick Clogger entered. In 1989, Spy magazine writer Philip Weiss spent several days posing as a guest before he was arrested for trespassing. As mentioned before, Alex Jones in 2000, and in 2022, Richard McCassin was arrested for trespassing and setting multiple fires within the Grove. Women are not allowed to be official members of the club. However, there have been 4 honorary female members, with the last one being in the late 1920s. The honorary members and female guests have been allowed into the City Club building and as daytime guests at the Grove, but not to the upper floors of the City Club building or as guests to the main summer activities in the Grove. In 1978, the club was charged with discrimination by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing because it refused to hire female employees. In 1981, 3 years later, a judge ruled in favor of the club, noting that club members at the Grove often urinated in the open without even the use of rudimentary toilet facilities, and that the presence of females would alter club members' behavior. However, later that same year, the decision was then overridden by the State Fair Employment and Housing Committee and ordered the club to begin hiring women as employees. Well, what was the point of suing them if you're just going to override the ruling anyway? Why not just skip this whole suing part? Later, however, the club filed a petition to the California Supreme Court, which again ruled in favor of the club. It was later found that the judge had previously participated in club activities. However, the request that he be disqualified was denied. The Fair Employment and Housing Commission appealed to the California Court of Appeals, which reversed the court's decision, holding that the club's private status didn't shield it from the same rules which govern all California employers. The Supreme Court of California later denied review of the case in 1987, forcing the club to begin hiring female workers. Now that we kind of got passed out of the way, let's kind of get into a little bit more of the conspiracy side. You can see there's not a whole ton of the video left because a lot of this is kind of self-explanatory, honestly. It's said that political leaders all over the world meet here in the summer to push the One World Order agenda and to discuss how to rule each of their countries in ways that will push this agenda. The meetings that happen here are under wraps, usually high-end meetings of people in power. As I mentioned earlier, if the first talks about the United States nuclear bomb program were held here, what other important stuff gets discussed here? Did they discuss COVID protocols? Did they discuss how to handle 9/11? What gets discussed here? Was Operations Northwood discussed here? Was Cold War strategies discussed here? Why is there a CIA website dedicated to Bohemian Grove? It is also said that the effigy that they use for the Cremation of Care is the effigy of a child, and not just any child, but a baby. The conspiracies are also that this is where future world leaders are chosen, and they are in fact not elected by their countries, but chosen here. There is also said to be blackmail that happens there, so one member cannot turn on another member without being blackmailed in turn. Personally, I think it is naive to think that no talks happen here about future leaders or global politics or the geopolitical whatever. I think it's naive to think that none of that happens here. There are too many powerful people there for it to not happen. What are the odds that a bunch of powerful people get together from all over the world in one place once a year and just don't discuss mergers or buyouts or governments or anything? Like, the odds are just so tiny. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, of course. But what do you think happens at the Grove? Is it just a clubhouse? Is it where the world elite go to plan the future of the world, to plan famines, population reduction, etc.? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. Leave them down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'll see you guys in the next one.